Hey guys, and welcome to another video. As you probably can tell from the title of this video, I am not going to talk about books today, but instead I'm going to talk about my all-time favorite TV series. I have been wanting to film this video for such a long time now because I absolutely love TV series. Of course, who doesn't love TV shows? And I am very passionate about my favorite TV series. I can talk about them all day long, and I really wanted to make a video of that, so that is what I'm going to do today. So yeah, I'm going to talk about my top 5 favorite TV shows, and I'm going to do it in order. So I'm going to start with number 5 and end with number 1. And of course there are way more TV series that I like, but these are really my top 5 all-time favorites. Maybe I will throw in some honorable mentions here and there, but yeah. Let's just get started with this video, and I'm going to talk about my top 5 favorite TV series. On number 5 I have How I Met Your Mother. How I Met Your Mother is about a guy named Ted, and Ted is telling his children in the future about how he met their mother. But the joke is of course that he's just telling about his life in his late 20s, early 30s, and that the story is very long, like 8 seasons long, and we barely see the mother, we don't see her until the very last season. So basically this series is about Ted, about his search for his love, and you know that he will find her eventually because he is talking to his children, he will meet the mother of his children. But it is also about his life with his friends, Barney, Robin, Marshall and Lily, and it's just a really funny show, and I really love it. I watched How I Met Your Mother 2 years ago when it was put on Netflix. My brother was also watching it and he said it was really good and that I should really watch it as well, so that is what I did. And I enjoyed every single episode. Well, no, that's not entirely true. I didn't really like the last season all that much. But overall, I really enjoyed this series. First of all, because it's so incredibly funny. Like, I love the humor in this series so much. There are a lot of flashbacks and a lot of flash forwards. And of course, we have future Ted narrating the whole show. There are constantly callbacks to earlier events or future events, and those things are just really funny, but it is also a lot about love, about friendship. There are some very emotional moments in the series as well. And what I also love about How I Met Your Mother is that, as I said, my brother was watching it at the same time, and then my sister started to watch it as well. So it is kind of like a family series, and it doesn't happen very often that we find a series that all 3 of us love. So, well, that's why I love it as well. I think How I Met Your Mother is way more than just a funny sitcom, as I had always thought before I had seen it. It is really funny, it is really clever, and I really enjoy watching it. And then on number 4 I have an animated series, and it is of course a very popular one, and that is Avatar: The Last Airbender. I actually have a couple of those on DVD right here, and those aren't mine, those are my brother's, but I borrowed them and just never returned them, and he still has book 1. These are book 2 and book 3. You probably all know Avatar, but of course it is about a world that is divided in 4 nations, one for each of the elements: fire, earth, water and air. And each nation has benders who can manipulate their elements. So you have fire benders and water benders, etc. And there is one person called the Avatar who can bend all 4 elements, and he is there to keep the peace between all 4 nations. But in Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Avatar has vanished and the Fire Nation has declared war on all the other nations, and then the Avatar returns in the form of a young boy named Aang, and then it is his job to learn to control all 4 elements and end the war. So I watched Avatar: The Last Bender growing up because of course it was always on television, it was always on Nickelodeon because it is a Nickelodeon series. But sometimes there was an Avatar marathon weekend, and then they would air all the episodes over the course of a weekend, and then I would just stay inside and watch every single episode because I love this series so much. Avatar: The Last Airbender is, again, one of the funniest shows I have ever seen. If you just search Avatar funny moments into YouTube, then you will find so many video compilations, and I do that every once in a while, and I just laugh really hard because it's so funny. But also the characters in this series are so amazing. There is so much character development in this show. The characters are brave when they have to, but they're also really vulnerable, and they're just very realistic and very human. It is not all black and white. There's not just good versus evil. There are all sorts of shades of grey in between them. And then of course the story with the bending and the war is very exciting, and I just love this series so much, and I never thought that I would love a animated series this much. Again, this is a series I often watch with my brother or sister because we all love them, and I think I also kind of love series that I can share with people. Again, Avatar: The Last Airbender is so much more than just an animated series. It is way more than you would think it is. I think it is the best animated series out there, and if you haven't watched it, please go and do that because it's really, really, really good. So now we get to my number 3 favorite series, and that is Grey's Anatomy. Again, I have a lot of this on DVD, like the first 10 seasons. Only season 1 is missing because my sister lent it to a friend and she never got it back. But okay, I have a lot of these seasons on DVD. Grey's Anatomy is about a hospital named Seattle Grace Hospital. Or at least that is the name of the hospital at the beginning. The name changes a few times. But the series is about the doctors who work there. And it starts off with a group of interns who start working there in the very first season. The title character is Meredith Grey, but we also meet her friends, and it is about them doing surgeries, but also about their love life, about the friendships, and just all the drama and stuff going on there. And oh my god, Grey's Anatomy is so good. I know a lot of this video is just me gushing about my favorite TV shows and just saying how much I love them, but I really love them that much. I started watching Grey's Anatomy because my mother was watching it, and around season 3 I think I started to watch it with her, so I haven't seen it in the right order. I saw season 1 and 2 after I had seen the rest of the seasons. But my mother was always watching it when it was aired here on television in the Netherlands. And then I started to watch it with her. And it is a series that you can get into so easily. It took just like 10 minutes of watching and then I was completely addicted and I couldn't stop watching it. And then after a couple of years of that, my sister started watching with us as well. So again, this is kind of a family show and we always watch it with the 3 of us and we always really enjoy it. The thing with Grey's Anatomy is that, again, it makes you feel all the emotions. Again, this series can be incredibly funny at times, especially with one of my favorite characters, Christina Yang. Oh, I love her so much. But also, this series being in a hospital with patients who sometimes die, of course, it can be very emotional. But it can also be very shocking, and what I love about this series is that it tries everything. Like, it tries so many different things. There is a musical episode, there's also a sort of documentary episode, and they just try out different things constantly, and I really appreciate that. Again, the characters are amazing. As I said, Christina, I loved Lexi, Meredith is of course amazing, and I also really loved George, and the characters are just so great in the series. This series just keeps on surprising me every time and I just love watching it. And again, I now really want to rewatch the entire thing. I have to say though, the last season, season 13, really wasn't up to Grey's Anatomy's usual standards. And I think that has a lot to do with certain characters leaving, because of course this show has been going on for so many years, so sometimes characters leave because they want to find other jobs and stuff. And I don't always like the characters that they replace them with. And with season 13, I really thought the storylines were just way less interesting and way less good than normal. This series is so good, so I really hope they can get it back together and then I can go on enjoying it and love this series as much as I do. And yeah, please just watch it from season 1 and you will love it, I promise. So now we are getting to my top 2 favorite series. And I have to say that it is kind of a close call. I love both of these series very much. But my number 2 series is one that a lot of you I think would be my number 1 series, but it is my number 2, and that is Game of Thrones. Do I even need to explain Game of Thrones? I mean, it is one of the most popular series that is in existence at the moment. It is of course a fantasy series about a land named Westeros and about all the wars going on there, about the politics, and yeah, basically that. I started watching Game of Thrones very early on when the first season was being released on DVD, and then I just continued watching it and I saw it grow and I saw all the hype grow and like the community around it. I've also read the books in the A Song of Ice and Fire series, but I have to admit that I really prefer the series to the books because the books are so long and so complicated, and if you thought that there were a lot of characters in the series, well, you have to read the books. There are way more in the books, I promise you. Yeah, Game of Thrones is of course absolutely amazing. It has the best shocking moments in any series I have ever seen. The shocking moments in Game of Thrones are of course very much talked about, and it is a series you really don't want to be spoiled for because it is the best when it really surprises you and really catches you off guard, and I just love that so much. I also of course love fantasy very much, and I love this whole... I know it's not historical, but I love the historical feeling of it. Again, amazing characters, a lot of amazing actors, and I don't really know what to say else about Game of Thrones. It's just one of the most addicting series out there. And what I also really love about Game of Thrones is the whole community around it. As I said, I really love to share series with other people, and with Game of Thrones you have a lot of people to share it with. But yeah, Game of Thrones, it's an amazing experience. I love to be shocked, I love to be surprised, and I just cannot wait for the next episodes. And now we're at my #1 favorite series, my all-time favorite series, and it is a series that is very, very dear to me on a personal level. It is very, very special to me, it has meant a lot to me, and I don't think a series can ever replace this one, and that is The Tudors. This series tells the story of King Henry VIII of England and about his breaking with the church and his 6 wives, and yeah, basically his historical story, but with a lot of drama added to it. I started watching this series when I was around 14, I think. I saw it on television and I was completely hooked instantly. I've always loved historical series and costume dramas, so when I saw it, I really wanted to know what this series is all about, and I really wanted to watch the entire thing. Unfortunately, I started watching the series when they were almost done with season 2, so I missed like most of the first 2 seasons. But I started watching it from there and I loved it so much. Like, I had never loved a series before. As I was watching it, I would Google the historical figures and find out more about their lives and how they lived, and also how much was true of the series. I loved doing that, and I loved finding out about this story of this king and about all of his wives, and he was such a impactful king. He has made a lot of changes in England. And then when I was 15 for Christmas, I got this entire box set of the Tudors, and well, you should have seen my reaction to opening it. Like, I was like a little child. I was so happy with it. I think this is the most happy I had ever been with a present. And here on the cover of the 4th season you see Henry VIII and you see all of his 6 wives. And wife number 2, Anne Boleyn, is played by the amazing Natalie Dormer, who you may know from Game of Thrones, but that is how I knew Natalie Dormer. This was way before her Game of Thrones days. Out of all of the characters from the series that I came to love Anne Boleyn the most. I absolutely adore her story. I find her so incredibly interesting. Natalie Dormer portrays her so well in this series. Like, so incredibly well. And I don't think anyone can top that. And I think I've watched this entire series about 6 times, 7 times. I have watched this series quite a lot. And now I can basically say the lines along with the actors whilst I'm watching it. But why this series is so incredibly special to me, not only because I love it so much, but also because this series really sparked my love and my interest for history. As I said, I had always loved history, but with this series I really became obsessed with it. And basically because of this series I decided to study history at university. So The Tudors is not only a series I love, it is basically a series that sort of shaped my life. But what is funny, that this is also the only series on this entire list that I don't really share with anyone. I think it is also the least popular series of my entire video, because I don't know that many people who have watched The Tudors. Please, if you have not seen The Tudors, go and watch it. If you love history, you will love this series. It is fun, it is emotional, it is so amazing, and it is my all-time favorite series, and I love it so much. Please go and watch it. So yeah, this was it for my top 5 all-time favorite TV series or TV shows or whatever. As you can probably tell, I feel very strongly about the TV shows that I love, and I just love sharing my love for them, like here on the internet. Some other series that I really like, but are not like my all-time favorite series, are That 70s Show. I love Modern Family, and a series that I'm now watching that I'm really getting obsessed with is Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I also really like Doctor Who. I've watched the first 8 seasons of like the new Who. I haven't watched the 9th season yet because I don't really like Clara Oswald as a companion all that much. But yeah, this was it for this video. If you liked this video, please go subscribe or give it a thumbs up, because I would really appreciate that. Please let me know if any of my favorite series are also your favorite series, and then we can all talk about it. And then hopefully I will see you again in my next video. Bye!